I'm John Lee, President and CEO of Economic Development Regina.
Let's begin by the big picture of Canada Inc. and Canada's attractiveness to foreign investors, Canada's competitiveness, especially focused on attracting FDI.
Particularly now, Canada in itself has a reputation of safe, secure food, and we have access to the crops and products like nowhere else in the world.
Any weakness that strikes you as obvious in terms of Canada attracting foreign investment?
Yeah, I think our biggest weakness, which is actually an opportunity, is our brand and our typical way of being Canadians, where we don't tell our story and make people aware of all the great things we have. So while it's a weakness on one sense, it's actually an incredible opportunity, in particular where we are today with COVID, because people are looking for safe, reliable, high quality food products.
Is Regina fundamentally different than Canada in terms of its attributes to attracting foreign investment?
First and foremost, Saskatchewan, and in particular Regina, is centrally located to 47% of the arable land in the country. Therefore, we have crops from a very diverse perspective for the country. Saskatchewan has also built a world-leading, if not the leader in the pulse sector, and that obviously makes us one of the largest exporters in a number of product sets, whether it's peas and lentils or canola or flax or oats, etc. So those two things in particular we're uniquely positioned not only in Canada but the world. We also in Regina in particular offer a fairly unique quality of life. We have one of the highest net disposable incomes in the country. We have lots of opportunities in terms of where you may choose to live, whether it's in an acreage or on water or in an urban setting or downtown, and overall have a very unique quality of life aspect that we can offer to people, workers, those kinds of things. So overall, we believe we have a number of very significant attributes that make Saskatchewan, and in our case Regina, a very attractive place for investment.
We're going to talk about COVID-19 a little further down the list of questions, but I guess it's clear that in the current environment where people perhaps are a little bit more afraid of being in confined or busy spaces, what I would, I guess, call secondary cities are becoming more attractive. Do you recognize that?
Yeah, we're actually hearing more and more that people who perhaps live in larger multi-million population centers are looking at smaller centers such as Regina or locations around Regina that are small, rural, but are close to jobs and quality of life experiences that cities like Regina are very well positioned going forward.
Is that, by the way, one of Regina's biggest challenges? Is it sort of the classic underdog situation, or what would you say are the first things that you need to address?
Yeah, I think like Canada, Saskatchewan, and in our case Regina, one of our biggest challenges is our ability to tell our story and for people to actually recognize and realize all of the great things that Regina and Southern Saskatchewan has to offer. So that for sure remains perhaps our biggest challenge, but also our greatest opportunity.
As the economic development agency, promoter of the region and trying to attract more foreign investment, what is sort of on the top of your pile of priorities?
One of the primary initiatives is to position Regina as a global food hub. And the rationale as to why we think that makes a lot of sense is for a number of reasons. One, we have producers, processors have access to crops. We have emerging financial market that is very interested in investing in and supporting growth companies. And we have a emerging transportation and logistics hub with the ability now to either move products very easily throughout Canada, either through rail or truck, or we have the ability to, through containers, to move product for export to port. And we're obviously a land-based city or community, and as a result of having those two or three things, it well positions us for the future.
As an EDA, I know you're always going to have 4, 5, 6 top sectors that you're trying to highlight. What are those?
As you mentioned, there's obviously the ag and food, but we have a very strong manufacturing sector, multi-billion-dollar manufacturing sector. We also are one of the largest hosts of major trade shows, not only in the food and ag sector, but in other sectors. We're actually have declared events and trade shows as a core sector for our city because we're very good at hosting major events and trade shows. And we have an emerging technology sector that's starting to really grow and take place. And while a lot of that is in the ag and food space, it's also diversified into a number of other subsectors within the region. And a lot of that is due to for a number of reasons that the support system is actually really on fire. Two of the major support systems here in Regina that have emerged has been the Connexus cultivator, which is owned and run by Connexus, which is a co-op here in Regina, co-op bank. And they actually provide support to startups, technology support companies, and they've been absolutely critical to our entrepreneurship process system here in the province ecosystem. And we also have Saskatchewan's largest co-working space, which is owned and operated by a company called Path Co-work, which is owned by a number of local entrepreneurs here in the Regina region.
Which of Regina/Saskatchewan's industries would you say are the most poised for growth right now?
Particularly in Saskatchewan, the agri and food space is poised for the most growth. But what we also believe, the manufacturing and tech space is equally poised for growth. And they're all in reality interconnected anyways, because there's lots of tech companies. We have, for example, a company called DOT that is looking at some major expansion, and they're a technology company in the farm and food space. So while we talk about food and ag, there's direct correlation to our manufacturing and technology side. And we also see some opportunities emerging in the financial side as there are more venture capital funds. Other types of financial models are actually companies are looking to be here in Regina and or expand the financial offerings that they have in both the food space, food and agriculture, but as well as the technology space.
There are companies, whether homegrown or just Canadian, that are investing in Regina. And even those companies, they do have the choice to go and invest somewhere else, in Canada or elsewhere. Do you want to highlight any of those stories and perhaps, again, with an eye to why they are investing or continuing to invest in Regina?
First of all, why are these companies choosing Regina? There's a number of reasons most recently. So Regina is now home to Proteins Innovation Canada, which is one of the 5 super clusters that the federal government is investing in. So we're very fortunate to actually have the head office here in Regina. And Proteins Innovations Canada is an organization that invests in innovation and research to support companies to advance new technologies and ways of growing in the ag, and particularly the protein space. We have companies like AGT, which is the world leader in processing protein, and in fact is seen as a anchor company in the whole protein agri space. So we're able to go around companies like that. We have a range of other companies like Viterra, a new emerging company called Canmar Foods, which is a producer of food-grade flax, and they call Regina home. They're just outside Regina. So, I think Saskatchewan overall has been a dominating force, particularly on the crop side of agriculture. But what we're seeing now is a number of companies starting to grow both from locally, but also attracting new companies into the region. What is very attractive is we actually have two primary, what I will call transportation logistics hubs. One is the Global Transportation Hub with rail and truck accessing, and a new emerging transportation logistic hub called Chuka Creek. And both have access to one or the other rail lines and trucking. So we've now are able to offer to investors a number of things in the toolkit that make it all the more attractive for a visitor to or investor to consider Regina and region as a place for investment.
I'm wondering, because Regina/Saskatchewan is, of course, a producer of many essential goods. I'm thinking, of course, about food, but even minerals. How has the economy fared since COVID-19?
Yeah, I think like a lot of communities, there's some positives, but like most communities, the biggest sector that's been hit by COVID has been the hospitality sector, the hotels, the restaurants, those kinds of industries that rely just not only on local residents to being out in the restaurants, but the visitor economy in itself has hurt us significantly. So events are canceled, business traveler is down or next to nothing, and the tourist traveler is down. So that sector in itself has been significantly hurt, and that's really hurt our city like it has every other city in the country.
What would be your pitch to potential investors, whether Canadian or foreign, right now? And what would be the value of that investment or foreign investment to your community?
Foreign investment is absolutely critical to growing your community, but also your country. And what foreign investment does is it brings new money into your community and ultimately helps to create jobs and grow local companies. Those companies that come and locate here are often selling goods and services to other countries throughout the world. So it also opens up significantly the export markets throughout the world, which the products and services are coming from local farms or companies or service providers. So the investment attraction for foreign investors is absolutely critical to Canada's growth, and in our case, Saskatchewan's growth going forward. So investment attraction also creates opportunities for local companies to partner up with foreign companies and provide more capital and support. And that actually allows local companies to expand and grow as well and broaden their product offerings.